Well, at least you also waited for your clock to sound the alarm.
Pretty much. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me, as always, is our two esteemed co-hosts, Miss Angela Rose
Hello, everyone.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Good evening.
And I feel like I need to move the monitor a little bit because my head gets somewhat blocked by the logo. We're in different spots on the computer here. I'm a little bit out of it.
And I thought you were trying to get the cat out of the frame.
Oh no, Ainz loves his camera time. That's why people watch. It's the cat. They don't care about me.
True.
And I do apologize if I seem a little bit out of it tonight because I spent the weekend at Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. A big thank you to everybody who tuned in during the live streams from there. We live streamed for 8 hours between yesterday and today. Had a lot of amazing viewers who tuned in. Of course, hearts go out to Ross Luck, who joined us for 7 of the 8 hours. And John Knight, who was there for quite a bit of it as well. Pop Girl came in today. We had, I think it was Brad from Bakuretsu-kan was in the chat yesterday for a bit. It was great talking with them.
Yay!
We also want to remind everybody, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear. Everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by Casey Fox for all of your artwork, photography, and cosplay needs. Be sure to check out Casey Fox on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're also brought to you by Darren.
Yep. If you're in the Carolinas and you need lawn maintenance of any kind, give me a call. If I don't do it, I know people that do.
I thought for a second you're just gonna be like, "Yep, brought to you by me."
Yep. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to advertise for unless they're specifically listening out of Raleigh.
Oh yeah.
We've got people listening from literally all over, including Japan as of this morning.
Oh, yay. Awesome.
Maybe about to say if they want to pay me, I will load everything up and I will come cut their yard, I guess. I mean, that would be fun.
I just realized I'm still wearing my vendor badge from Vermont Sci-Fi. We did have a lot of fun out there. If you weren't able to catch the live stream yesterday or today, you can always go back to our YouTube channel if you're listening to us via the podcast platform and go back to YouTube, watch it. It's YouTube exclusive content live from the con, and got to see so many old friends, make a lot of new ones. Good evening, Mario. So glad that you're here.
Good to see you.
Our guest of honor, Giovannie Cruz, will be joining us in a little bit. I think she said that she would be able to join us somewhere between 8:30 and 9. So, hello, Nico and Kiyoshi, game playing idiots. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We had so much fun, or I should say, I had so much fun out at the Vermont Sci-Fi. Jeff Full puts on an amazing show with Vermont gatherings out there every time. Sad that we're not going to be able to make his show for a while because of the move, but he brought in... You know how you can go to a convention and then you run into people you didn't know were going to be there? That's what happened when I saw the Montreal X-Men. That's what happened when I saw Toking with the Dead. That's what happened when I saw our friend Trish from Just Ducked It. I knew Melissa was going to be there, who makes plushies. I knew Papa's 3D Printing was going to be there. And, of course, Jay Moores was there. Didn't know I was going to meet Eric Rowland, which was like an amazing thing. I'm still kind of on cloud nine from meeting him. Which, good news, you want to keep an eye on our Facebook because we have a signed print from My Hero Academia that we are going to have a giveaway for. We have to figure out what the contest is going to be. The three of us will discuss that off air, and we will post some information up about that on our Facebook page. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that. Just search for Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook, and we will have more details about that coming up probably within the next couple of weeks. But we do have the prize right here. Also got him to sign a piece for us. So, I know, Andrew, you're a little jealous.
I don't have. I am, but at the same time, I don't have wall space.
You're just a My Hero fan amongst us.
Yeah.
I was more excited to meet the guy that got called a pervert in Demon Lord Retry. By his wife. But we had a lot of fun out there. The convention didn't feel as busy as it did last year. I don't know if the rainy weather kept people away or what exactly was going on. Also ran into our friend Luke Hungerford, the owner of Rail City Fan Fest. He stopped by the table today, talked with him for a little bit and let him know everything that was going on. And we are excited to be going there. You will have an Anime-Zing radio table and a Casey Fox table at Rail City.
Dual representation, nice.
And hey, Rail City, I'll actually be up there.
Angela will be joining us, and Darren will be dead.
Again.
Resting in peace.
I mean, if you want to come up in June, you're more than welcome to.
My vacation, I do have a week of vacation in June, but it's the first week.
Yeah, and this is the last weekend.
Yep, my vacation, unfortunately, is not available that time. Unless I make it a permanent one, which I've considered doing.
So anything could happen. You could see all of us in one spot for the first time at Rail City. Maybe it'll be Rail City. Maybe it'll happen after I move to Pennsylvania, since North Carolina will be 6 hours closer than it is now. Who knows? And I'm stupid enough to drive down there just for the hell of it. So
there you go.
So at that point, come pick me up at the airport on the way down.
Could possibly do that. I see the. Do apologize if we get distracted. Angela has the Bruins hockey game on in the background, and I have the NHL tab off to the side, so I keep periodically checking the scores. So we're not just the anime nerds; we are also sports nerds.
I suppose, if we're being honest, we're just nerds. Period.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I poke fun. People like to pick on us for being the anime nerds, and you dress up in costumes and stuff. But guess what? Sports fans are just cosplayers too. You wear team jerseys. You're just cosplaying, pretending to play for your favorite team. Technically, it's the same thing. You're supporting a team where a cosplayer is supporting a specific character or anime.
Slight tangent. A tangent before I forget to tell you, because this is something I think you, as a trained person, will find amusing. I was watching a YouTube video earlier today, and they went to a izakaya that was entirely themed with railroad trains.
Well, that's cool.
Exactly.
If we're talking railroad news, there was some big news for North American railroads. April 14th, it was made official, the merger between the Canadian Pacific Railway and the Kansas City Southern Railway, forming the CPKC, which is the first north-to-south transcontinental railroad in North America, covering trackage rights from Canada to Mexico, because Kansas City Southern owns TFM, the Federale de Mexicano Railroad. So they have trackage rights that extend from Canada all the way into Mexico.
Who owns who?
I'm not sure. I'm guessing CP probably has a higher share. where
which
it's
means
CPKC.
where then CP technically would own everything.
But I didn't look into it too far. I had seen a photograph of a Canadian Pacific engine and a KCS engine in like a press conference format that crossed my timeline, and so I was like, did they merge? I just read something really quick that they merged, so I'm not sure who the parent company is, if it was 50-50 or I don't think it was a full-on takeover like when Conrail got disbanded, but
About to say, something happened with our local railroad here recently. Norfolk Southern was bought out, or what? Our section was either bought out or acquired or something by a different railroad.
But you're not in Ohio, so it's not on fire?
Nope. It's not Conrad or something. I don't remember. I saw something about it, and they repainted the locomotives, or they shipped in the new locomotives because they used to say Norfolk Southern on the side, and now it don't.
Hey, pretty cool. Updates all around.
and there actually I think is a Norfolk Southern engine painted in. It said Conrad, but I think they meant Conrail.
It might be Conrail, but regardless, that one's here in Fuquay.
Yeah, that was one of their heritage locomotives because NS got 60% of Conrail's trackage rights. CSX got 40% when Conrail was disbanded. Leave it to the train nerd to know that stuff.
Yep. And there's a couple of YouTube channels I follow that I think you would appreciate, Doug, because it's guys that basically ride on trains to do the interesting aspects of trains.
Now, getting onto anime topics, I know we were talking a little bit beforehand, and Angela is about a week behind because of NHL playoffs.
Among other things.
Among other things. I have been able to keep up with a few shows, including Konosuba, My One Hit Kill Sister, which that show, I've watched 4 episodes. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if I'm being 100% honest, this show is absolutely ridiculous. I know some listeners will not watch it because of how stupid it is, and I don't blame them. I watched it out of sheer curiosity, and I may finish it for the same reason that I finished other bad anime. Maybe it'll get better, or just to see what the hell happens. I'm not going to put it in the same category as some of the other shows that we bash just yet. But it may end up in that dumpster fire.
Well, you're not alone. That's what I'm watching. Haven't started yet, unfortunately, because I am still not started anything from this season because I have not had the time. I've literally been coming home at 9 o'clock and going to bed.
Kuma Bear, I will say, Kuma Bear is still as cute as the first season. I am very happy it's back. Same thing with Smartphone. It's just as stupid as the first season. It's one of those guilty pleasure animes, and I will enjoy it as long as they keep making it.
Nico and Koishi say they just started watching Oshinoko. I haven't started that. I've heard mixed reviews.
I have not started it yet, but it is on my radar. I just need to find the time to watch the first episode, which I believe is about an hour and a half.
Yep. I was talking to someone who ended up watching the first episode, not realizing when they started it that it was 90 minutes. Yeah.
I know a few people who have done that.
They did say it was pretty good, but
oh, R.J. Corman. Okay.
Yes, I knew it started with a C, but I couldn't remember.
So back on the train thing, Darren sent me a picture, and it was an R.J. Corman locomotive. which is a separate entity. So that was probably leasing engines or a short line railroad that was seen on the Norfolk Southern tracks.
Yep.
Which is not uncommon. Like I said, Kuma Bear, after season 1, they could have left it and things would have been great. A lot of people question why was there a need for a season 2? Because the anime is goddamn cute.
Sometimes that's all you need is the
Yep.
cute factor.
Or gay girls in it, according to Giga.
You know what?
Birdie Wing.
I will argue the best girl romance. I will argue is Witch from Mercury.
That's why Giga got back into Gundam.
Exactly.
I don't think he ever left the mecha stuff.
But then again, as we know, I don't necessarily watch a lot of romance stuff. Almost every romance anime I have watched has been by either someone else, it was somebody else's choice, or by accident.
Which she will get a kick when she continues Banished from the Hero's Party.
Again, not something I chose.
But something that piqued your interest.
Yeah.
Which, come AAC time, we will get the second autograph on that piece with Aaron Campbell.
And by AAC time, I'll be on a boat.
Because Danny Chambers will be at AAC, so we'll be able to get her autograph. Back on the anime subject, Konosuba Explosion on This Wonderful World. I'm not going to lie, this was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I'm not just saying that because it's focused on Megumin, but it has done a really good job thus far of explaining and giving you an idea of why Megumin is the way she is, what interested her in explosion magic in the first place. And it's been a really good backstory to also shed more light on her relationship with Union. Friendship, rivalry, whatever you want to call it, because both come out. And you get to understand that the Crimson Demon clan is all a bunch of whack jobs. It's not just Megumin. Every single one of them is freaking nuts.
Yep. And if you've watched the movie that they came out with when they visited her village, then you really got to see that then too.
Now Ross directed a comment at me in the chat, and all I'm gonna say, Ross, is no promises, because I've got a lot going on right now that I'm not gonna get into on air. Personal stuff going on, a lot of personal stuff going on. So I can't promise anything beyond what I'm already watching this season, and even that's going to be behind. Eventually, maybe, but can't promise anything for now.
And HH says most anime is suggested because somebody else already proofread it. There are so many out there that the impractical to randomly pick ones, especially if it's not already in your wheelhouse. Which is true. There is so much anime out there, which is, I think it's one reason that we have a good group here on AZR of enjoying different types of anime.
Yep.
That way there we're able to cover more of the shows. Now, granted, there are shows out there that we all might watch at the same time and enjoy, like Bo Fury. And then there's probably shows out there that none of us are going to watch because we just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
My Hero.
No, I'm caught up with My Hero.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I had to throw that in there.
Yep.
Now, while during the live streams over the weekend, I was having some fun, and questions were brought up from Ross and some of the other viewers. Things about Isekai Quartet, and I had thrown out there, if you could throw not even isekais, if you could have random crossovers between shows, what would you want to see crossed over?
I will say, granted, this is American, so you could argue it's not anime per se, but there is a crossover movie, direct to streaming and DVD, Ruby and the Justice League.
You and I did it at the same time, Darren. That was in stereo. Where available.
So you could get some granted, both of those properties are owned by, I believe, Warner Brothers.
One of the things that was thrown out in the chat after I proposed that question was Cat Planet Cuties and Nicopara.
That would be interesting.
Both involving cat girls. I said, Love Live mixing with Show by Rock. Both music-based animes, but you have Animal Girls in one and High School Girls in the other. I forget what some of the other ones were.
What about Monster Musume and let's see, Daily Life with Monster Girls?
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, you also could throw stuff out there. Because I'd also pose the question of imagine a mashup of My Hero and Fairy Tail.
Devil is a part-timer in Skeleton Knight, says Ross in the chat.
Yeah, I think you had thrown that out there yesterday too, Ross, when I proposed that.
Overlord and Sword Art Online would be interesting.
How would that work though?
Simple. They're both in MMOs.
True. But
going from the oversimplification of it's all they're basically, you take the characters and put them in a different MMO, but none of them realize it.
There's several anime. You do know, I think you know this, but you're familiar with the Science Adventure series, right?
Science Adventure
series. There's a series. All these animes take place in the same world.
No.
Chaos Head came first, followed by Steins Gate, followed by Robotic Notes.
I've only heard of one of those.
I've heard of all three, but didn't know that they were all tied into the same world.
Yeah, they are.
Out of the three of those, the only one I've heard of is Steins Gate.
There are a couple of Chaos Head references in Steins Gate, and I haven't seen Robotic Notes, but there's several Steins Gate references in there, and I think there was a couple of Chaos Head ones too. Ross, Mario, can y'all back me up here?
I'm gonna do. John says hello, everybody. So hello to you too, John. John Knight has joined the chat.
And one crossover that I thought could be interesting, and you could finally settle an age-old anime question: who is more useless? Combine Konosuba and Cautious Hero. Which goddess is more useless?
I would say Restarte versus. I think Aqua is actually useful. If nothing else, is a decoy.
Oh, okay. Ross says, I'm sorry I had it backwards. Overlord and Skeleton Knight, then Devil is a part-timer, and how not to summon a Demon Lord.
And Ross disagrees and says Aqua is useless.
Hey, if you need water, you're all set with Aqua. Otherwise...
But she purifies the alcohol, so how does she get drunk?
She gets drunk on water. Who knows? And HH says, crossover JoJo with Gundam Wing. Because no one has invented eye bleach yet.
Honestly.
If you want to see not so much crossovers, but basically one show make fun of everybody, that would be Gintama.
And if you want a show to watch that you need eye bleach for, they already have that.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a couple of them out there that could fit in. School Days.
That one wasn't terrible, though. I mean, it was bad, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't.
Before another one, that was one I kind of regretted watching. It seemed good, and then the last 2 episodes just completely ruined it.
Yep.
But we did have I did have a lot of fun out at the convention today. It was really cool because I got to tell Jeff that we had an international stream today. Big thank you to Pop Girl, who joined us for the first hour of the stream, all the way from the UK. She got a kick when I said that we were in Essex, Vermont, because she's from the OG Essex in England. I couldn't argue that. It's like, you are correct. You are in the original Essex.
That was actually something we wanted to do, that we actually looked into doing, because the part of Boston we live in is called Brighton. There is a Brighton, England, except it would have been we couldn't get there because it would take too long. But there's a lot of New England towns and regions are named after British ones. Go figure.
We just threw your tea in the water. We do not want your tax, England.
But they're wasted perfectly good. Oh no, wait. Never mind.
The classic Boston Tea Party, throwing the Yankees in the water and that funny picture.
Yes. I was going to say it's a waste of perfectly good tea, but then I realized I like other teas better.
Japanese tea is where it's at. Or Chinese tea, I'm sorry. That's like the only tea I'll drink is the ones that you get at the Chinese restaurants.
Japanese green tea is also quite good.
I don't think I've ever really had green tea. Also, want to throw a shout out to our friend Tamara, who came by the table yesterday and today. Had a good time chatting with her. Unfortunately, we did see her at Anime Boston, and or she was there, but I didn't really get a chance to see her, even though she shared the hotel with us for one day. It was the case of I get to the hotel and fell asleep before she got into the room. When I got up to start the day, she was still asleep, so I never really got to see her or say hi. So I'm glad that she was able to make it out to the sci-fi con today and yesterday. Granted, both days she got there late. Also, a big shout out to our friends over at BakuretsuCon. They had a table at the event, which I was excited about. Got to talk to them for a little bit. There was a couple other podcasts and Twitch streamers that were in attendance for the convention and had tables, so it was wonderful to chat with them as well. A big thank you to one of the authors. I was talking with him. He was wanted to get ideas on starting his own podcast, so talked with him for a bit. In return, he was gracious enough to give us a book, which looks kind of interesting. I read the synopsis earlier.
Who's the author? What's the book?
Give me a second. I have it in a bag across the room. So the author is Rosary Bushy, ROSAIREBUSHEY. This is the book right here.
Ooh.
And you can just search for thisname.com to find more information. He had about 6 or 7 different books at his table. This says this is book 1 of the 30 Stones saga. So there is a series of these. And this kind of is this kind of has a deep storyline to it, which even piques my interest, and I'm not much of a book reader.
I'm a huge book nerd, which is why I ask.
The synopsis, again, Ross says the plot is long. The plot here says, when magic comes to Irage, an average woman becomes one of the most powerful people in the world, and a broken man becomes one of the most dangerous. Their new powers do not come without a cost, however, as magic takes a physical toll on the person who wields it, and mastering magic means mastering pain. For Lydra, learning to be a wielder means trusting her friends, her own decisions, and accepting her role in this new world. For Winter, the limits of magic are the limits of his own body. With direction from the voice of the woman he loved, the woman he killed, Winter is pushed to rule without mercy, to bend Irage to his will and remove those who defy him. In his quest to rule, he destroys what he must, and in the process creates a new species, dragons. To stop Winter, Lydra must endure physical pain of learning magic and the emotional pain of using it. At the same time, she must accept the responsibility of leadership to ensure magic becomes Irage's future, not its end. So it's kind of a sci-fi book, and just reading the synopsis, I'm like, you know what? That kind of really interests me. So I might actually read a book for the first time in a long time. No guarantees. Angela shakes her head, being like, the fact he might read it, I'm sure she's proud, but she ain't holding her breath.
Nope, I have a stack full of books on the floor in front of a overfilled bookcase.
But it sounds really interesting, and if I do read it, I'll keep y'all updated. Maybe I'll read it to help me fall asleep faster. Because that's my problem with books, is I fall asleep reading them.
And this is why audiobooks exist.
Pretty much. But, like I said, had a lot of fun. A big thank you to everybody who is out there. I want to throw a thank you out to the crew of Vermont Gatherings and all the employees from the Champlain Valley Exposition Center for all the work they did in helping all of the vendors get set up, keep things running smoothly throughout the weekend. And, they're the unsung heroes of these conventions. Angela, as you know, the staffers are usually the least recognized and the most patronized.
Yep.
So we want to make sure we take the time to thank them for all of their due diligence and hard work behind the scenes. And I think there was a panel yesterday that every author was a part of and needed table coverage. So I think like 3/4 of the Vermont Gathering staff had to watch tables for an hour while the authors were in a panel. Which, when tabling by myself like I did, I was just happy I had, the Talking with the Dead guys across from me, because know them very well. It's like, hey, I'm going to use the bathroom, just keep an eye on the table. Yep, gotcha. And for those of you who watched the stream, they were the guys who kept coming over and like sticking their face directly into the camera.
And Ross has a Marvel question. Does buttons they work? Does the Guardians Christmas special tie into the series, or can I watch the third movie without watching the Christmas special? The answer is the Christmas special is 100% standalone. It's a lot of silly fun. It's on Disney Plus. I highly recommend you watch it, but you don't have to. But you could definitely go and watch the third Guardians movie without having seen it. I'd more expect an Ant-Man an Ant-Man 3 reference than I would a Christmas special reference. Or not Ant-Man. Wrong one. Thor. Now I'm tired. I'm mixing up my Marvel movies, and I would expect a reference to the main Marvel movies as opposed to the Christmas special. The Christmas special was definitely a standalone thing. that had no reference to anything beyond Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know anything of the Marvel movies or universe, but it is really cool to have Giovannie joining us. Especially knowing that she is a part of the Marvel universe, being in the Guardians of the Galaxy season 3 or number 3 movie.
That releases next week. That is
Releasing this week.
Next week. Yeah, this week. I know what I meant.
Somewhere out there.
My brain, it has...
It's okay. All of our brains currently have the dumb.
Yeah.
And Giovannie has also been, aside from the movies, she's appeared on NCIS New Orleans, co-star in Queen of the South, guest star in Murder Made Me Famous. Apparently she made an appearance in Space Dandy as well. Anna the Blue-Haired Alien in Season 4, Episode 2.
Well, all right.
And if you have seen Fruit of Evolution, did you ever watch that one, Darren?
I got most of it done. I think I'm missing out on the last 2 episodes of season 2.
I think I'm around there, but she is the guild master. Because I kept seeing her name, and I'm like, I don't remember the character by name. And then I saw a picture, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait, the one with the muscles?
No,
that's the guild master.
Okay, so she wasn't the guild master, but she was like second in charge. She was
the secretary or whatever, the sadist.
Yeah,
and
the BDSM one.
Ross is pointing out she was also Sheila in Fairy Tail.
Yep.
Wait, who in Fairy Tail?
Sheila?
Don't remember who that was.
Neither do I.
I'm not even gonna... I'd never watched Fairy Tail, though I've been told there's a character from it I should cosplay.
Sierra Blendy, insert song performance. Fairy Tail TV3 in 2018.
That would be why. I stopped after episode 140 something.
She was also in World End, and she was also in Beast Tamer. And if my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan, I would die as one of the idols. She was Maki, which I kind of remember her. I think she was the tall, dark-haired one. Because I did enjoy that series. That series was actually really good. So it's going to be fun when Giovanni's able to join us here, probably at the top of the hour. And lots of stuff to talk about, especially, Hollywood, movie premieres that have been going out and things of that nature. So I'm excited to chat with her. Like I said, she will join us when she's available to. So until then, we're going to continue talking about some of the anime stuff. And I still enjoyed the fact that I kind of set Ange off last week with a hot take out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And which one was that again? Because I think I drifted off about 9:45.
That was at the beginning. That was
the start of the show when I said Bofuri was what I was hoping SAO would have been.
And I just kind of went off on that. Was like, no, you can't compare the two. Because they're two very different shows. And then hearing
the reasoning why I made that comparison, she was like, okay, understandable.
I still disagree.
You don't agree. Well, you don't have to agree with it, but when you go in blindly to both of them and have certain expectations of an in-game anime, I was hoping to get out of SAO what I got out of Bofuri.
Where is it at the time? I did not go into SAO blind, and also at that point, the content I was taking in for most of media at that point, well, everyone's gonna die.
And score update, it is tied up 2-2.
Yep. With 17 minutes to go in the game, which means I'm calling it now. We're gonna have another game of overtime. Help us all.
This isn't the Toronto-Tampa series for overtime games in like 4 of the 6.
It's also not the 2013 Stanley Cup Finals where we had, I think, 2 games in double overtime and 1 in triple overtime in out of 7 games.
That's a lot of overtime hockey.
And that was Boston versus Chicago. I don't think I got a good night's sleep for 2 weeks.
The life of a sports fan. And it doesn't matter who your team is. If you follow sports passionately, you have those sleepless nights. You have those screaming, yelling, swearing,
threatening to throw your TV out a window.
Mm-hmm. I've never known that feeling.
And Ross is reminding me that once I have time to start watching some new shows, don't forget to watch A Galaxy Next Door that he recommended yesterday. I do have that written down somewhere. When I get to it, I don't know.
You know, it is conversations like this why I put my anime list on my phone so that when someone mentions a show, I can actually look it up and then add it to my watch list or not, as the case may be.
Which usually when I recommend something, she doesn't add it.
Well, no. To be fair, almost anything that's not isekai I will add to the list. Isekai is 50-50.
I think you would enjoy Kuma Bear, just even though it's an isekai to start off, it's still a very cute series. But I think you have to be in the right mind frame to want to watch it.
Well, I gave her credit for watching Aho Girl, so...
I promised I would try.
And you managed to make it through the whole thing, which was
Yes.
very impressive.
I will say the best character was the dog.
Exactly. I think we all agree on that.
Pretty much. But I will admit I like the president of the morals committee too.
Yeah. She
Besides,
was interesting.
No, probably the most evil one there was the mom.
The mom was, yeah.
Very conniving.
The mom actually could have been on one of those stupid reality TV shows that's on TV now.
Agreed.
I was going to say, like, that whole situation could have ended up on, like, a Jerry Springer show, and then I was told yesterday that Jerry Springer passed away.
Yes, yep. I was speaking of Jerry Springer. He died earlier this week.
Yep. He's 70, 78, 79.
79, I believe, of pancreatic cancer.
And when I read that news, the what went through my head was the Weird Al song aptly called Jerry Springer.
I don't know if I know that one.
It's a parody of Bare Naked Ladies 1 Week, and it basically goes through a bunch of different scenarios.
I do think I know that one.
It basically goes through 1,000,001 different scenarios from Jerry Springer. And HH, unfortunately, the majority of adventure animes right now are isekais. I've read probably 24 mangas that were regular adventures that haven't been animated that are really good. HH, if you want to send a list, or at least a couple of good recommendations for adventure mangas, I love a good adventure story. And
Says then there are
I
Korean
got-
manhwas that are surprisingly good too.
adventure.
because I love a good story. And Ross, you mean Dance Moms? Sure. You know what? That is an accurate one, yeah. Jumping around and reading comments out of order because that's how my brain saw that.
And HH says he'll work on compiling a list.
Of Korean manhwas?
Adventure mangas that haven't been animated yet.
How about light novel series?
She would, but it takes too long to read the title.
You're not wrong on that one.
If it's got a good, if the story's actually got a good plot, I'll actually give it a shot.
Well, which plot are we talking about?
The storyline.
I had to.
I know, and I can't. And given the book I just finished reading, I can't even argue with you.
So Giovanni should be joining us shortly. She was having some issues with the first connection link that I sent her, so I resent her the link. Hopefully that will work, and hopefully she'll be joining us momentarily.
And we have her.
And we have got the wonderful and very talented actress Giovannie Cruz. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Sorry I'm so delayed. I was trying to figure it out on my tablet. And StreamYard and iPads don't really go right now, huh?
StreamYard and cell phone don't always work real well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello to Shark in the chat.
I was about to say, particularly on Verizon.
Oh.
So, and I do apologize if I'm a little out of it tonight, Giovanni. I just spent the weekend at Vermont Fantasy and Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo out in Essex, Vermont, all weekend. And when you messaged me earlier about what time the show was, I was literally on the way home.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I saw that on Facebook, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook. Well, I mean, if it makes you feel better, I'm currently in my jammies.
Nice.
I was gonna
Fresh-faced, bushy
I
tail.
was gonna say, is that Pac-Man?
It is. Yeah.
That is
awesome.
adorable.
It's a Pac-Man onesie.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. So, figured it's Sunday. We're resting today. I too have been traveling all weekend or all week, doing things, making moves. So I was like, you know what? The people won't mind. It'll be fine.
We are excited.
No, we're just
that you're
happy to
joining
see
us.
you. And HH says, welcome back.
Oh, HH, hey, thank you.
And for those of you who don't know, Giovanni is a very talented voice actress and Hollywood actress. She has appeared in many films and TV shows, including congratulations on all the success with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that is coming out this week.
Thank you. Yeah, we went and saw it at the premiere on Thursday, which is why I wanted to do this one, because you gave me the option of doing it last week or this week. And I was like, let's wait till this week, because then I'll have stuff to tease.
What was it? No, don't think I've ever really talked to somebody who was fresh off of a premiere of something that they have done. What is that experience like to go to a premiere of a movie that you are part of that is as big as Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, so I did Suicide Squad. You guys know that, right?
Yes.
And I did Reminiscence, but I was not invited to those premieres, partly because of COVID and partly because I've learned that Hollywood has moved away from the idea that premieres are for the cast and the crew. Really, premieres are now for media. And I would say 80% of the audience was media, including Instagram famous types and influencers and stuff. So I wasn't invited to the premiere of Reminiscence. I wasn't invited to the premiere of Suicide Squad. And I was like, I will be damned if I am not invited to the premiere of Guardians. Like, I'm going to that stinking premiere. So I got myself in and I went, and it was a whole circus. It was amazing. It was like, I don't know. It felt like, I don't know why I keep comparing it to this, but it kind of felt like my senior prom. Like, it's this like big anticipatory, like, and then you get all like, there's so much preparation for it. And yeah. And then like everybody's in gowns and stuff. Like, it seriously felt like prom. It was like the weirdest, most surreal experience.
And I
with
saw
the movie in the middle, right? Like,
I saw the pictures that you had posted of the outfit and having hair done and everything. You looked amazing for your red carpet.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was we had to hire a whole team of people. Help this, go to that.
Now, jumping from like the Hollywood screen acting world to voice acting, is there a big mental change that you have to go from, okay, I need to voice a character like Himiko or Eris, as opposed to being in the movies or on TV?
Yeah, it's a completely different style of acting. So, like, you guys know Rico Fajardo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we love Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Rico's also a film actor, and I'm not really sure that he's done a whole lot of film acting in recent history. It's Sean Gann, who directs. He's a stage actor, and even though it's all, Caitlin Glass is also. I mean, a lot of us are stage actors, or were stage actors, or still are acting in some capacity other than in anime. And like, the thing is, it's like, it's a different style of acting. So like, anime to me is so low stakes. It's about having fun. It's about doing the lines. I don't have to prepare as much. We literally, like, we walk in, we look at the flaps, we look at the lines, we try to match it. We try to match the sentiment. You know what I mean? But like, I can do Eris. I can be in and out of Eris in 2 hours an episode, but when I'm working on camera, that's like a whole day thing for like one page. So it's just a different animal. And so I would venture to say anime acting is like way more fun. It's just way more fun because it's like not as like high stakes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And knowing that you voice Aries and going back and rewatching Fruit of Evolution, I'm almost completed with season 2 and being reminded of the character, because I won't lie, when you watch, between 10 and 15 animes a season, a lot of times, you kind of like, I knew for like some of the main characters from Fruit of Evolution just stick with you. A big pink gorilla and the ridiculousness of that kind of trumps your character, memory-wise for me anyway, a little bit. But your character is quite extreme in her own right. What was it like to voice Aries, going from like I showed people pictures today of the character at the convention, and I'm like, oh yeah, she voices this character, and sometimes she dresses like this,
like a dominatrix.
And then like, whoa.
Yeah,
what?
And it's crazy. It's crazy because we're reminded that this show is for like 13-year-olds in Japan, right? It's not the audience that watches it here stateside is not the audience that it is intended for in Japan. So, yeah, the fact that I'm like a German dom in this crazy.
I wish I could say that information surprises me, but having consumed a lot of anime and having spent time in Tokyo, this does not surprise me.
No, not at all. No, and honestly, to me, she's like the most fun character I've ever voiced. Like, okay, so Himiko's fun because she sings, and some of the other characters I voice are fine. I've just joined. I don't know if I can talk about it because I don't know how many episodes.
Is it a show that's airing right now?
Yeah. It is a legacy show. It's a show that's been on the air for 20 years. But I just wrote the cast of one of those. And it's not as, I mean, it's fun, but it's not as fun as Eris was the most fun. She's probably my most favorite character to voice. mostly because I'm whipping people most of the time. And so like half of my sound effects are just me like grunting with the effort of whipping. And also just because of the ridiculousness of like what the antics between her and Gussel. So like, you know, the Gusly character, that's basically like in a
the muscle guy with the
in the Speedo. He's like in the
Speedo.
Speedo the whole time. His name is literally Gussel. Yeah, so I don't know. She's just to me like the most fun character. I had the most fun with Jonathan Rigg. We would just laugh and laugh and laugh in those sessions. They were the most fun. So even though the show is not like the most popular show, like for me, that's still hands down my favorite person to voice.
And it's still it is a fun and enjoyable show. You just have to get around some of the craziness.
Yeah, well, we talked about this before. It's mind candy.
Oh yeah.
We're not intended
to turn your brain off for a while.
Yeah, it's not intended.
And then we have questions in the chat.
Oh, sure.
John says, Giovannie, who or what got you into anime in the first place?
Brina Palencia. You can thank her. You can thank the gods that Brina Palencia exists in the world. She and I were actually in college together. We were
wow.
Yeah, we were both vocal majors. And I was an opera singer and she was a vocal major, which means her focus was on singing, but not necessarily opera. And we were a part of the same studio, and it was her super senior year because the program is a 5-year program. So it was her super senior year. It was my freshman year. And she just always championed me from that point on. She just always championed me. And she'd always said to me, I think you'd be good at this. And she would get me auditions and I would blow them because I had absolutely no concept of how to do voiceover. I mean, they don't teach you this thing, right? You just kind of walk in and wing it. And I blew several auditions before I got one that matched me, you know. And Brina would call me and she'd have all these shows. It was like sort of at the beginning of like the idol show phenomenon. And so she'd have all these shows with women who could voice act circles around me, but they couldn't sing. And so one of the first ones was Fairy Tale. And so she had me come in and stunt sing for, oh gosh, what is the character? What's her character?
Sheila.
In Fairy Tale.
Because that came to the next question from Ross asking, what was it like doing Sheila from Fairy Tale, Wendy's best friend?
Yeah, so I didn't do her speaking voice. I did her singing voice. So anytime she had to sing in the show, which was not very often, I would come in and do the stunt singing for her. Brina also directed Space Dandy for Cartoon Network for a while. And there was an episode of Space Dandy where Space Dandy goes to basically the High School Musical universe. And so she had to cast a bunch of singers to do that episode because it was just like High School Musical after High School Musical after High School Musical. And she cast me in that one. So it just kind of was like the beginning of like this musical and anime phenomenon. And then eventually I started doing idol singers. And then they also like would let me voice them. And that's how I learned to do just the speaking aspect of voice acting.
And go ahead, Ange.
Yeah, I think we're doing the same thing, and that gets into the next question in the chat. Serious question coming from HH. As a voice actor with a recurring role with repetitive exclamations or utterances, have you or anyone else thought of making a soundboard with the various inflections to save some effort?
No, and because most of us are doing this at the Crunchyroll studios. Some of us are doing them at home, but not every character lives in the same part of our range, right? So, and not every expression takes the same length of time or the same amount of time. So there might be a moment where we're shocked, but then that shocked goes straight into a laugh. Or, you know, we're surprised, but then that surprise goes right into a line. So it's very few and far between where it's just the expression. But sometimes the space that it has to fill is different. You know, it's very rare that it's like the same amount of space. And we always time it by what the Japanese have done. So like we'll look at the file length for the Japanese cut, and then we'll try to match that length. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That would also kind of explain why in the Pokemon anime, Pikachu's voice actor never had any sound bites. Every single noise uttered by that mouse was done live.
Yeah, because when they are also like animating the character, Japan is not going in and copying pasting their animations. They're making them raw for those moments and those beats. They take a lot of pride in like animating certain moments, you know what I mean? And they will spend a little more money on certain moments than others. And so, to voice act that's what we have to match.
Mm-hmm. Between that and when they spend extra money on one particular scene's animation and artwork, that just drowns out the rest of the show.
Yeah, they do that a lot though. There were moments in in Show by Rock where the animation was so rich and so beautiful, especially for Under North Zawa, right? And then like we'd cut to a scene and you could like tell that they just didn't have enough money to animate that scene because like Himiko's eyes would look funny, or like certain people's mouths would look weird, or but there would be like these nuances that you could tell they just didn't spend a lot of time on that particular moment because it didn't matter to them,
But Show by Rock is still the Show by Rock as a franchise. Bump Rosario Vampire is my number one favorite anime.
Mm-hmm.
And
but I do still get messages to this day about why we didn't sing in Show by Rock Stars, and I'm like, I cannot.
That is beyond your control,
Totally.
and a lot of people don't know, but the fact that they were able to English dub 3 seasons of Show by Rock songs is a miracle.
It is,
because there is so many contractual obligations and hurdles they have to go through. It's not, we're just going to dub the whole thing and get permission. You need permission from the songwriters. You need permission from the Japanese staff that sang it originally. They have to okay the versions of songs that are sung before they can even be thought about put into the show.
Right.
So a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes that the average fan doesn't know. And, as heartbreaking as it is, I didn't get to hear, Masha Miresh sing, one of my favorite songs from the franchise in English, because I know you would have killed that part.
Some of those songs were bangers. Some of them were absolute bangers. Like there were some that I was just like, this is such a fun song. And I was really looking forward. And Meg and I were actually really looking forward to doing it. And then she kind of came and said, Japan doesn't want us to dub these. And I was like, dang, man, some of these were so fun. I will tell you what, though, the hardest song to sing in Mashumairash was actually the karaoke song. And I will tell you something else. Meg, her version of it, because she sent me the track and she like pre-recorded the track, her version of it was way better than mine.
I know Megan has a YouTube channel where she's done a lot of anime covers and stuff, and she's a fantastic singer as well. And I know I've told you this before, but we just you were put on my radar of I need you on the show. I need to talk to you because of Himiko. You're singing with Himiko. And as anime fans, we get used to certain voices. You hear the same people over and over. Like Todd Habercorn Scream, that's Todd. Or Brina has a recognizable voice for a lot of characters, or J. Michael Tatum, or things like that.
Yeah, Brandon. And
as soon as you started singing in that first episode with, we're going to just have Hawan join Off the Street. My wife and I looked at each other and went, who the hell is that? I need to find out, and I need her on the show.
Hilarious.
And I was like, the voice was amazing.
Thank you.
I love your singing voice. I hope to hear you sing in future shows.
I hope they let me sing in future shows. It's all about Japan, it's all about Sony and Japan.
Or even if you worked with like Megan and did some cover songs on a YouTube channel or something.
I mean, I love working with Megan, and I would love to work with Megan again. So I don't know what she's up to these days. I haven't seen her in a while, but no, I adore Megan. Megan is so much fun. And like I said, her version of that karaoke song, I was trying to beat that because it was so good in my mind, like that track that she made just for me to practice to. And I remember thinking, we were in session and I was like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Because I was trying to beat her version of it and I couldn't. It was just, hers is too good. It was too good. So maybe one day as a gift, I know she's on the show a lot. Maybe one day you can ask her about that and she will play you a sample.
Maybe. I should reach out to her because we're going to be at PoochieCon later this year because we sponsor that convention in Pennsylvania and she was announced as a guest. So
okay.
It'll be the first time I've actually had a chance to meet her in person. I'll probably have a stack of stuff for her to sign.
Yeah.
Including... That's an officially licensed Japanese art book.
Nice.
From the original Show by Rock, which I know she's in a band.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to get as many signatures from Show by Rock in this book as I can.
So you'll need Brina, Caitlin, all of them. You'll need all of them.
At Kineticon last year, I went by and got J. Michael Tatum and Brandon's autographs. Well, Brandon can read Japanese, so he flipped to the band page, and then went through and read the interview with the writers and stuff like that. And he's like, "This says this," and I'm standing there going, because he's like, "Oh my god, can I read this?" And he's going through it. I'm like, Brandon Aarons is reading to me. Oh my god! Because it's something my wife and I will joke about. I love their voice. She'd be like, "Oh, I would have loved just to have him read to me." And Brandon was one of the ones she talked about.
Well, but
and then when it happened, I messaged her because she wasn't with me.
He'll occasionally get on Twitch and do some fun. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitch ever, but he'll occasionally do some playthroughs on Twitch or whatever and throw some Japanese, or people will just ask him to speak Japanese or say this in Japanese. Yeah, I think he will occasionally entertain on Twitch.
And he's amazingly talented voice actor.
Yeah. You actually, now we're talking about Twitch, I think also Jalissa is on Twitch. Actually, I think a lot of voice actors are on Twitch.
I know Kyle Phillips is on Twitch. Michelle Knotts is.
A lot of voice actors.
The voice of Paimon is on Twitch. And
I can't add another thing. I cannot add another thing to my husband would kill me. Like, he would kill me. He'd be like, "You work too much." And I'm like, "I know. I'm sorry. I cannot add another thing." Yeah.
That's my problem. I work too much. 2 jobs, do this, travel for conventions, planning a move to Pennsylvania at the end of July.
Oh, wow.
What else can I throw in there?
Plus, raising a child.
Yeah.
Add that to the mix because, parenting is a full-time job in and of itself.
Right. True facts. All the facts.
And hello to Pop Girl who just came into the chat. It's awesome to see you. Thank you so much for joining us earlier while we were at the convention. Pop Girl is from the UK.
Oh, welcome, Pop Girl.
So it's early morning where she's at.
Well, good morning to you. I won't even hazard a British accent because there's so many different ones.
And my wife has, being a smartass, says do the 75-day hard challenge that she's doing. She's like, you could add that to the list, which is 45 minutes of exercise outdoors, regardless of the weather. 45 minutes exercise of your choice. Eating staying with a specific diet plan of your choice, plus reading 10 pages. So basically exercising your body, mind, and soul, really. She's 20 days into the 75 days, which,
for her.
So proud that she's doing that and supporting her all the way.
Attitude has changed a lot. I bet things are, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Sorry, I just... Squirreled. I just saw Pop Girl say it's 2 a.m. in the UK right now. Baby girl. Yeah. My word.
And John Knight asking if you collect anime Blu-rays.
I do not. So I am a bit of a minimalist. I don't collect anything. Isn't that terrible? I have like a few of my favorite comics that I've kept. because there are certain writers that I really, really enjoy. And I have some of the Blu-rays that have been gifted to me of movies that I've been in, which is kind of funny. And anything that I get from shows has been gifted to me, and those I will keep. But no, I don't. I just have the Crunchyroll sub, and just let Crunchyroll collect it for me. Yeah. Because I think I've moved enough times. I don't know about you guys, but I've moved enough times that like having to pack all of that stuff, and like you're about to go through this, Doug. So like having to pack all
I'm
of
sure
that
you
stuff.
see that behind me.
Yeah.
That right there is just some of what I've sorted through out of storage, and we've
And I know
thrown a
you
lot
have
of
a
away.
ton of art too, right? Like you have a lot of art.
We have a lot of art. I mean, at the convention today, I didn't know that he was going to be there, but I got to meet Eric Rowland, who was a voice actor from My Hero.
Yeah.
So, of course, got an autograph. And for those of you just joining us, keep an eye on our Facebook page. We're going to be doing a contest in the near future where one lucky fan will win the autographed print you see here.
Nice. Look at you.
So excited about that. That was a weird thing for me. And I don't know if you've ever been starstruck by getting into being acting, and especially in movies where you could be acting with some of the biggest stars out there.
I have been starstruck, but my starstruckness is always actors. They're not the big actors. They're not like the actors that everybody gets starstruck over. Yeah.
My like shock, because I walked by the table this morning and the coffee hadn't kicked in yet. Because when you set your alarm for 7 a.m. and your body wakes you up at 5:30, it's even with coffee, you're still kind of like, okay. And then I had an hour and a half drive to the convention because it was close enough I could just come home and then leave in the morning. And I got my table set up, making the round, saying hi to friends who were there. And I looked at the table and like, wait, I know that name. Why does that name sound familiar? And I couldn't think of where I knew. I'm like, and I saw like all the art on the table. I'm like, I don't think he's an artist, but why is Eric Rowland so familiar? And he was at the table and turned around and goes, hey, do you like anime? I said, yeah, I do a podcast, and I think you've been on my show. He goes, wait, Doug? I went, yeah, how are you? He's like,
right. Oh my. Because for a long time you only had voices. You didn't have.
Yep. Yeah, we didn't. Because you were a part of our last show before we brought the video aspect into it with the Masha Myresh special.
Yeah. I almost actually, because I was still in my jammies with no makeup on and my hair because I look like this essentially. I was like, what? Maybe I'll just pop on and put my headshot up like Darren does. And I was like, I won't do that to Doug. I won't do that. I'll just show up as I am in my pajamas. Like, it's fine.
And it was like one of those things where it almost felt like he was more excited to meet me than I was to meet him, which is tough to say because like, oh my God, come here, give me a hug. I need a photo. And talked with him about Kylie Stewart, his wife, who's also an actress. And she spends a lot of time now I know they spend a lot of time raising their kids. They moved up to New York to be closer to her family, the help with the little one and everything. And had a great 5-10 minute conversation with him before the doors opened, and just an awesome guy. And I can't wait till I get a chance to meet you. At some point, we'll get you out to conventions.
Yeah, I still I haven't broken my teeth in on a con yet. So we'll, I don't know. I've been thinking about getting a con agent, but I'm not sure if I would do it. I haven't done, other than Show by Rock, any notable roles, or like major roles, I would say, except for but a lot of Marvel DC fans, I think that might draw. I don't know.
You would be a great guest, I think, for shows like the Vermont Sci-Fi Fantasy Expo that I was at today, Rail City Fan Fest that is coming up. It's a multi-genre con.
I mean, alternatively, stuff like Comic-Cons where the Marvel and DC stuff would be a lot more.
Yeah, but people don't go to the Comic-Con to see the likes of me. They go to see the likes of like, Seth Green and
you would be surprised.
Really?
I went to 13 conventions last year of all types, varieties, everything from anime to Comic-Con to my first gaming con.
Mm-hmm.
And the lines for the celebrities were very long at all of them, regardless of the size.
Oh, okay.
And if I
Like-
know, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy actress is here, I need to meet her.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, I need to meet.
Yeah.
And case in point, it just got announced that the front man of a metal band is going to be one of the guests at Rhode Island Comic Con.
Oh. Huh.
And the amount of WWE celebrities who go to these things and get the long lines. There's so much pop culture overlap.
And I've even seen porn stars at these multi-genre cons, and so really the lines for anybody, and like Saratoga Comic-Con, Sam Chase puts on a good show out there, and he brings in people from what was that TV show that he brought a bunch of people in? It wasn't the Clerks.
Oh, yeah.
So he would bring in actors from Clerks. He brought in Brian Harnois from Ghost Hunters seasons 1 and 2.
I love Ghost Hunters.
I am a Ghost Hunter, so I used to watch it for entertainment and to see the new tech, but I never fully took anything serious. If I see scriptwriter, I don't take anything serious in the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Jumping back a little bit, Ross in the chat, do you have a favorite superhero movie?
Yes, I do. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I used to work. One of my first jobs in college, I had so many jobs, but one of them was working at what is a movie tavern. It's very similar to like the concept of like an Alamo Draft House or a Studio Movie Girl. I don't know if you guys have those, but it's like a movie theater / eatery, where so you would need waiters to go through and like we would serve people food during their movies. And the year I was in college, and I am a huge Jon Favreau fan, and Iron Man came out, and I watched it, no lie, like 13 times front to back because I just loved it. I loved it so much. I mean, of course, it opened the door to Marvel, but like, I don't know, it was just something special about that movie. And like I said, I'm a huge Jon Favreau fan. So the thing is, I fangirl over directors. I don't necessarily fangirl over actors unless those actors have been on any of my favorite Joss Whedon shows. So like, Seth Green, Nathan Fillion, Sarah Michelle Gellar, like those ones I will fangirl over all day long because that's my childhood. But like, I mostly fangirl over directors, and so yeah, like Iron Man was probably like the first one to get me really excited. Before that, I loved the I was also like really small when this one came out, but the Burton Batman, because it was appropriate, I think, or inappropriate for a child. But the colors and like all the wackadoo stuff, you know what I mean? Like I was attracted to that as a kid. But then like the other one that I was really into was the Dark Knight series, was the Nolan Dark Knight series. So yeah. But the one that I watched the most, like front to back, was like the OG Iron Man. Yeah.
HH agrees with you on Joss Whedon.
Josh Whedon franchise for the win.
I love, it's a shame. It's a shame. I know people that know him, that have worked with him, because there's a lot of crossover with the James Gunn, Joss Whedon, cast thing that happens. And I know people that have worked on Dollhouse and people that have worked on other Joss Whedon productions. And it's just a shame that he kind of became insufferable. Because the last show that he put out, I really enjoyed, and I don't think it's going to get a new season. They put out The Nevers on HBO. I don't think it's going to get another season, and that makes me so sad.
It's weird what, like, we see it in anime and something we talk about all the time. It's weird to see what gets like we've seen great shows that just end in one season, and then there are some of the crappiest shows that's we're getting a season 2 and 3 and 4. Why?
And 7.
Yeah, well, a lot of the DC shows, I can't stomach them. There's so many that I just can't. I can't stomach them. They've been too like watered down or like
Photocopied
or photocopy. Yeah, or they like the writers phone it in because they're not actually comic book fans, or they don't actually like. I can't watch Supergirl. I can't watch it. That's just one I cannot watch.
I have not seen any of it. I will say the rest of my house did watch at least some of it, and they did say after the first couple of seasons it got better.
I'm not gonna give it a couple of seasons.
That was my response, but if
it doesn't grab, why? And like even Smallville, like I loved Smallville, but it lost me after like season 4. I was just like, do something else, or maybe just end the show. You know what I mean? But like even Buffy, I'm a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, but like after like season 7, when things got weird, but then they got like really weird. I stopped watching, and I'm a huge Buffy fan, so that makes me sad. I actually went back last Christmas over COVID and started rewatching season 1, and it does not hold up as well, but it also doesn't. My nostalgia for it isn't ruined. You know?
I think a lot of us who were introduced to anime, like myself, through Inuyasha, I went back and rewatched it. I'm like, I think it's more the nostalgia thing that I love about Inuyasha than the fact that it was actually a good anime. But for the time that it came out, it was a fantastic anime. But then you compare it to many years later as to where we're at now with all the animes coming out. It's like it kind of doesn't hold up. It's not one of those timeless classics like a Trigun or something along those lines. And jumping back into the anime talk, I know we touched briefly when you joined us for our anniversary show, but you voiced Stella in Beast Tamer. That was such a fun show for me to watch.
Yes.
You were
I think
one of the knights.
I think we're getting a season 2, and I think she's back. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But like the vibe I was getting was that they were setting her up to be in the manga she has a substantial role. And I don't know if they're going to follow that, but dude.
So all of you in the chat, if you know that they're going to be having a season 2 for Beast Tamer, let us know. And Pop Girl asks about how do you feel about Panty and Stocking getting a season 2? I don't know if you watched that one or not.
I don't watch that one. No, I'm like,
it's a anime called Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt about 2 fallen angels who have to do good deeds to gain angel coins for a chance to get back into heaven.
I might now watch it.
Panty is a blonde bombshell who is very sexually active, and Stocking is a goth girl that's addicted to sweets.
Okay, yeah. So like,
it's an interesting art style.
Yeah, I see it.
The 4-letter F word is used a ton in that.
So I don't watch a lot of. So when we cast, when they cast anime, and I don't know who. This is Dark Horse. Yes, it's just based on Dark Horse Comics. I don't think they do this one through Sony. So I wouldn't have if like Crunchyroll.
It was a Funimation title.
Yeah, Crunchyroll's licensed it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like I need to even figure out who's voicing on it because I might.
No, Monica Rial was one of the original voices, and Jamie Markey was the other one for the 2 main girls.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
I think Christopher Sabat was Garter Belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who else was in there. I know of, a bad name to bring up in there.
Thick Lasagna. We call him Thick Lasagna now. We don't use his name. He's like Voldemort.
Yep.
We don't say
I like that.
We call him Thick Lasagna. We don't say his name.
But why are we bringing He Who Shall Not Be Named into this?
Because he's a cast member.
he appears in the show, and everybody was amazed that he actually did it based on his beliefs. And I love thick lasagna, and everybody in the chat.
Giovanni's a real one, bless.
And to give you a little background, Pop Girl and Mario are both part of Monica Rial's Facebook fan page.
Listen, we love Monica. We love that she stood up.
I support Monica 100%.
I believe her. I had no questions, no doubts whatsoever.
The allegations go back decades, not so just long. Recent, but I've heard stuff back in stories. Early 2000s and late 90s about him. So yeah. I was like,
yeah, no, we believe. And Jamie is a wonderful human. And
we just can't get an interview with Jamie. I feel bad,
Which I think she's very busy. She's very, very busy. It's not just that. Jamie is a private person. And she also does a lot of stuff for the community. She actually teaches a lot of, I might be giving away a trade secret here, but she actually teaches a lot of how to do anime voiceover classes. You just have to know where to look. And she spends a lot of her time.
I know there's quite a few voice actors who do have classes of, okay, this is what we can help you learn how to voice act or act in general. And
yeah, well, and a lot of them are hoping to get more women and people of color involved. So like Sean Gann has a huge initiative. Caitlin Glass has a huge initiative where they are trying to cast more people of color and non-binary folk. I know you know Syrian Strange in these roles. So and it's happening and it's beautiful. I walk through Crunchyroll and I see all these colorful faces and in the space where in Funimation it was maybe not so much that. And I say in Funimation as in the old Funimation offices, not like the brand. But yeah, and so Caitlin, Jamie, Sean, a lot of them do teach classes and try to help like young people learn how to do this, which I wish I had. Like Brina was just throwing me into auditions. Brina was just like, here, go, fly.
This almost reminds me of like the story, because we had J. Michael Tatum on the show, and he talked about how Christopher Bevins is a persuasive bastard, and that's how he got into voice acting, was after years of theater with Chris. Christopher was like, oh, just come down for an audition. It won't take very long. Mm-hmm. Tatum goes, it was a 4-hour session.
It was not. They were planning on hiring him. Yeah.
And after the session was over, he walks out, and Chris goes, "Oh, I need you to sign this real quick. It's just saying that you were here, and that way we can pay you for your time and stuff like that." He goes, "So I didn't even read it. I'm just flicking the pages, initialing what I need to initial." I was like, "How do you get anything done around here if it takes you 4 hours to audition?" And Chris looks at him and goes, "Oh, that wasn't an audition. You just recorded the first 6 hours of the first 6 episodes of this show. Congratulations, you're now contracted by this company, and you're officially a voice actor."
Oh, Tatum. We love Tatum.
And that's how he got started.
Yeah.
Absolutely love J. Michael Tatum. I'm excited to see him at PucciCon along with Megan Shipman, and they just announced another. Ray Chase was also announced for PucciCon in Pennsylvania.
I don't know Ray. I know the other two, but I don't know Ray. You know what's so cool though is like now that we're back at work, and we're not doing things over at home or over like in closed studio spaces. Like it's so fun seeing these faces in person again and just being able to catch up and say hello, and I've missed a lot of these people.
Oh, I'm sure, and I think a lot of us feel that way. Like for us with the convention side of things, like pre-pandemic, I was averaging like 10 to 15 cons a year. And then when the pandemic hit, we had just gotten approved for press for Anime Boston for the first time in like 6 years of trying. Mm-hmm. And then Anime Boston was April. The pandemic hit in March. So AB was the first con truly affected, or the first big con affected by COVID. And then we had nothing for a year and a half. So when conventions came back, it's like, okay, you need to be vaccinated. All right, I'll get vaccinated. I'll go to Kineticon. in 2021. Maybe it was a little early to come back. They weren't sure of how things, because it was later than they normally do, so they didn't have their normal staff because of schooling and stuff of that nature. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but it was still a good time, and it just felt so good to get back to see friends. And the voice actors who came out were amazing to talk to, and some of them recognized me from being on the show, and I think Jeremy Inman had the funniest reaction. And as somebody like doing this show for as long as I have for the last 9 years, I still don't view myself as like a celebrity status type person. I just view myself as an everyday guy who just has a fun hobby. Being able to talk to amazing people like yourselves and all the other guests we've had on, whether it be the cosplayers or the artists, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us.
Thank you. Well, I think a lot of us would agree with you though on that we are not we also do not see ourselves as celebrity status. Like a lot of these people, a lot of my compatriots that do the Crunchyroll biz are people that like go grocery shopping and pump their own gas, and like you would never know that they have this like exciting career, So I don't know that many of us would say, but the conventions do help make us feel special. And these sorts of platforms also help make us feel special. So we thank you. And we thank you for acknowledging the good work.
Oh yeah, and Angela can vouch that we have a true appreciation for what you guys do, and even behind the scenes, we're firm supporters and believers that the tech staff, the engineers, the directors and stuff, the people who get maybe a quick blurb of a scrolling credit, but nobody knows who they are. They deserve just as much credit.
Well, a lot of the writers are anime voice actors. So J. Michael wrote for a long time. He was one of the guys that would write shows for a long time.
Jamie has done it. Alexis Tipton, I think, has been doing it as well. And
Alexis is directing now, but she had in the past. I mean, so many people, and Megan has done it. Dawn. I mean, so many people have been on both sides of it, where they're either voicing or they're directing or they're writing the show for the English audience.
And it's amazing to see the work that you all do for, I know a lot of fans, like you said, people may not know who Giovanni is, but they know Himiko or they know Aries. And they only see you as that character. And one of the great things about this platform is people get to learn about you as a person, not just the roles you have done in either movies or anime or TV.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I always have fun. With you guys on this show. So yeah.
And as you know, we try to keep it light, try to keep it fun for everybody. And really, I like having the laid back atmosphere of just some friends chatting that people can tune in and have, they can just ask questions. The chat room interaction is always amazing. We've got some of the greatest fans in the world and listeners.
I see that. You probably see my finger coming into camera a lot because that's me like checking the chat and seeing. So I'm not depending on Angela to catch me up.
No, that's
Pop Girl says getting to know the person is honestly the best part. So She agrees that getting to know Giovanni, not just the characters that you may voice in anime or play in movies and TV, that's how we really get to become fans of you as a person, not just your work.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll have more of these. I'm gonna have to pop off here in a second because I'm actually also judging the Dallas International Film Festival. Asked me to judge one of their film competitions, and so I have to watch like 5 movies. I'm on movie number 3 right now.
Oh, good gosh.
Yeah, and they're all indies of various degrees of budget and this sort of thing. So it's just kind of like. Excuse me, but it's a task, and it's for me it's already 8:30, so I'm like I gotta get back to that because I have a job. have a job I have
Yes.
to do tomorrow. But I do appreciate you guys giving me your time and
Oh, we appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. It really does mean a lot to us that you enjoy coming on. And if we reach out, if I can do it, yeah, I'd love to come and hang out.
Yeah, if I'm available, I will happily.
And before you leave, our shameless plugging section. Tell the fans where they can find you, social media, anything that you're a part of that you can talk about. NDAs obviously can't say anything, but where can our fans find you?
I am the most active on Instagram. My Instagram handle is my name. It's GIO, V as in Victoria, A, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, IE, CRUZ, like Penelope, not like Tom. So Giovannie Cruz. So on Instagram, I'm the most active. I have a Facebook and I have a Twitter. Now, Jonathan and Sean and any of the other directors that I work for will often tag me on Twitter, and then it'll be like a month before I reply or I don't understand Twitter. I know the fans use Twitter, but I'm like, that's the one app that makes me feel old. And I just don't. I cannot abide. So I do not. But I am on Twitter at Giovannie C Actor, and then on Facebook as Giovannie Cruz. The next thing I'm in is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which comes out on Thursday. No, late Thursday or Friday. Or if you're in the UK, it comes out already, I think. I think the European premiere was a week before the American premiere, which is interesting. So I think, anyways, whatever. Comes out this week. Go catch it. I'm in some scenes. It's a lot of fun. And the movie's honestly, I think Endgame level good. Don't come at me if you don't think it's Endgame level good, but I think it's Endgame level good, and I'm being totally unbiased. And then the other thing that I'm in right now is there is I don't know, any horror fans. Sometimes these worlds cross over, the anime and horror world. But there is a horror movie, horror. Let me make sure I pronounce the back end of that. Horror, not a whore, but a horror movie. Coming out. We get our world premiere at Tribeca in New York in June. And that one's a Lovecraftian horror movie. It's like a body swap movie. We love Lovecraft. I mean, I don't love Lovecraft the person, but I love Lovecraft the stories. And it's a Lovecraftian horror film called A Suitable Flesh, which comes out. It'll come out on Fangoria, I think is the platform. I think that's Shudder. Shudder's the platform. That's going to come out in June. So yeah,
awesome.
Coming out. A couple movies, some scary ones. Yeah.
And real quick, speaking of the horror genre, I wanted to let everybody know that the founder of the Shriekfest Film Festival, Denise Gossett, is scheduled to join us at the end of June. So I don't know if you know Denise at all.
Don't, but I love that segue, and I love that worked for you.
She's also an actress, has appeared in films like Get the Gringo with Mel Gibson. She's appeared
That's a good one.
She's appeared in Nickelodeon programming like Drake and Josh and a few other shows as well.
What's her name? I'm about to Wikipedia her.
Her name is Denise Gossett, Gosset. I think there's one T or two T's. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. We love Get the Gringo. That's a really funny movie.
And I've known Denise for many years. Like, I've known her since I was with my ex-wife. And I got divorced in 2012, so
not a big deal.
Only a little time.
Not a big deal. Yeah, it's two T's, double S, double T.
And also, her daughter just started getting into acting as well, so it'll be fun to talk about that with her, to be the proud parent of an actress.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't wish it on my kid, but I'm glad she's doing it.
But thank you again so much for joining us. And anytime that you have stuff going on, if you want to come on just to share some news, if you want to come on as a guest co-host for an interview of anybody, whether it's be another voice actor or cosplayer, or if you just want to come on and razz people, just let us know. We love having you on the show.
Thank you.
Personally, I'm a big fan of you and your work, and I thank you for everything that you have put out and wish you a ton of success.
Thanks. Well, and I just was double checking the feed real quick. I want to let John know that I love Attack on Titan. I love Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan was one of the shows that got me back into anime. I had no interest in it for a few years because I was just doing other things. And then we started watching it and I was addicted. So yes, to answer that question.
And what is your feelings on the fact that the final season is just dragging on? I know some fans are annoyed. I know some fans are like, it is what it is.
You know, I'm the type of person that's like, stop while you're ahead. Leave them wanting more. You know, end on a high note. So I'm not, I've kind of tuned out this last season. But the first, like 3 or 4 were so good. Just so good.
Yup.
And the music, like the intro music was just so good. In fact, my husband and I were road tripping not that long ago, and we were playing like Guess This Song, and I just started playing the music to Attack on Titan.
My wife and I, if we're going to an anime convention, we'll just start playing anime music through YouTube on her phone because I usually have the GPS on mine.
That's exactly what we're doing, yeah.
And lately we've been addicted to Creepy Nuts from Call of the Night.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Creepy Nuts is the band. They have like the whole soundtrack of Call of the Night, and their music is fantastic. And then there was Cheeky Cheeky Bang Bang from an anime called Ya Boy Kong Ming. And that's a catchy little tune as well.
Well, I've pulled it up, so I'm going to have to listen to it soon. Yeah.
But again, thank you so much for joining us. Have fun watching the rest of those movies.
Thank you. Thanks. Like, I'm halfway through. I'm 2.5 in, and I've got a half and 2 more to go.
Well, enjoy.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
You as well.
You as well.
Bye, friends.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And they just hit the Leave Studio at the bottom. There we go.
it's up there. I'm not sure it's number 1, but it is definitely up there.
And a big thank you to Giovannie for joining us tonight. Always fun to talk with her. Excited to see her get more roles in anime because she is a very talented actress and her singing, like I said, is absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen Show by Rock Mashumaresh, if you don't watch anything else of the Show by Rock franchise, just watch part of the first season so you can hear Himiko sing. And I think you will agree with me of, oh my god, her voice is absolutely amazing. And for those of you keeping score, it is tied up in overtime 3-3. The Bruins could not keep the lead in the third quarter.
Third period, not quarter.
Third period, sorry.
And
I also have Celtics on the brain.
And no, it was an empty net.
It was an empty net goal?
I think so.
But again, big thank you to Giovannie for joining us. It was a lot of fun chatting with her, especially knowing how busy her schedule is. The fact that she was able to join us for the amount of time she did
is amazing.
A lot of love. A lot of love goes out to her. As I said, I am a fan of her as a person and as an actress.
She is a sweetheart, and yeah.
Looking ahead, we are currently looking to fill up some guest slots in the next few weeks. Hoping to hear back from some people.
That reminds me, you need to send me the schedule because I have a couple of people that I need to confirm stuff with, but I need the schedule.
Okay, our next scheduled guest is June 25th with Denise Gossett. We are open okay. All the way up to that.
All right. In which case then I'll... The person that messaged me was one of my vendor friends who's also on the staff for Anime-Zing, but he'd be coming on to promote their business where because they're selling The one I was talking about that was at Anime
Yep.
Boston selling merch from Japan.
Yep. I'm also waiting to hear back from Pop Cult Anime Con about when they would like to come on, and I have sent a couple emails out to some voice actors, which I'm waiting to hear back from.
Yep.
I don't want to say who because we never know if they're going to want to come on or not, but one of them is somebody that I've wanted to have on the show for a while, and things never worked out, so I'm hoping that they will be able to join us. Ross says he's only seen seasons 1 and 2 of Show by Rock. Mashima Resh, in my opinion, if I had to go by bands from Show by Rock, the band Mashima Resh is better than Plasmagica.
Excuse me.
Ange, is that excited about Show by Rock?
No, Ange got that little sleep.
I know the feeling. I'm just poking fun because of the yawning at the time of me talking.
No, well,
I have that effect.
It doesn't help that I have not seen Show by Rock, but you know. And Darren is dead.
Typically. He is staying on cue. I know a lot of people have suggested shows out there that is currently on High Dive. I have not started any of those. Including Too Cute Crisis is one that has been recommended to me. Oshi no Ko is one that I want to watch. I just have not had the time. And I'm scrolling through seeing what else was on High Dive. I think that was about it that I wanted to watch. I know we touched a little bit about Giga talking about the worst anime or anime has gone too far with My Life is Inuki-san's dog and just how horrible that is. The Dangers in My Heart, I've heard a lot of people talking about that, saying it's really good. The problem I have with it is the main character reminds me too much of the main character from Watamote, and
that one's on my list. That one's one of those ones that's on my interested list. If I get to it, I get to it. But at this point, who knows?
At this point, you probably won't get to it for a bit.
Pretty much. Granted, that list includes stuff from 3 seasons ago at this point. I mean, I think I'm still on season 1 of Demon Slayer. Vinland Saga is also on that list. And
How heavy are the dumbbells you lift?
I don't. I have a laundry list of stuff to watch.
I won't lie. The dumbbells anime was entertaining. I kind of laughed because the character Machio looks like facial wise looks like Skune from Rosario Vampire, and then he flexes and busts through the tracksuit, and I just kind of jokingly started calling him a buff Skune. And that joke has just kind of stuck.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So what I am going to do is I'm going to pull up
Actually, let me go to close that. Open Discord, go to clear out notify.
So if I share the screen here, and I'll let everybody make the opinions themselves. So here we have Skune Ono from Rosario Vampire. And especially look at the face, and then you can kind of see the same face on Machio, who, if I use that picture, you would almost say they could be brothers.
Wow.
Do you see the resemblance there?
I do, actually.
So you have Skune, and then you get Buff Skune. So that's where the joke is, and Sharka sees the similarities as well. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that can see that, and I'm guessing from what I see behind you, things are bad.
The Bruins just lost in overtime.
Of course.
And the President's Trophy curse continues.
As I heard you say, after Game 4, they forgot how to play.
Yep. By the time they remembered how to play tonight, it was too little too late. But I digress.
So, well, that makes it easier for me. It just means I have to listen to the NBA network instead of NHL now for listen for the Celtics games.
I never got into basketball ever, so...
In a way, like listening to the Celtics games while delivering pizza brings me back to working for Domino's in East Bridgewater because of 98.5, the Sports Hub would carry either the Bruins or Celtics on the nights I would deliver pizza. So that's what I would listen to while delivering pizza. So flipping back and forth on the satellite radio and sometimes using the app on the phone so I can hear the home broadcast for those teams.
Yep. And that's about what I got. Nope. Now we go directly to baseball season. Now we go directly to baseball season
and catch up on anime.
Yes, but that involves staying up until 2 a.m.
But
basically, at this point, the teams we are sort of rooting for are all West Coast teams, and subsequently not staying up all night.
You will watch them when they have games on the East Coast.
And yeah. And actually, while I have this open, nope, at this point, it's go directly. It is basically go directly to baseball. Let's see how bad the Red Sox are.
Oh, the Red Sox suck.
The Red Sox, the Yankees suck more.
Tampa Bay is the team that's on fire.
Yep. Tampa Bay is the team to beat right now.
They started this. I think they started the season with like 13 or 15 straight wins.
They are 20
or more.
They are 23-6 as of probably yesterday, maybe today.
Yeah.
Giving the ESPN app the 24-hour update variance margin of error, if you call it what you will, but the Yankees and the Red Sox are tied for last place.
As long as the Yankees are down there with us, I don't care. I want the Red Sox to either be equal to or better than the Spankies.
And we are listed as 4th place. The Yankees are listed as 5th. I'm not sure how that. I think that's tiebreaker. I think we're getting into stupid tiebreaker territories.
Probably.
But I digress.
But on that note, we are looking forward next week. As I said, we do not have a guest currently. That could change at any moment. And if we don't have a guest, we're going to have some fun open chat topics. Of course, we always encourage you guys out in the chat room to interact if you have questions for us, if you have interesting topics or things that you'd like us to discuss. If you want to try to give us hot takes that set us off, we encourage that as well. I still say Bo Fury better than
here we go again.
SAO. Give me just a second. Ross was asking for a show by Rock, the band that had the frog and the mouse. The frog, and I know who you're talking about.
The question is, Mario, who's not wrong about what?
The mouse was part of Zure. The frog girl was she part of? Frog girl was part of Pretty Krista. And yes, I'm not sure what Mario's saying. You're not wrong. We jumped all over the place there real quick.
That could literally be about anything at this point.
It's fun to see us get set off on random topics, or it's fun to derail us during the show.
Probably all of the above.
I know Ross is still proud he derailed us talking about the love nectar from Shimonetta. Pretty Krista, Ross says, is his favorite. They're so cute. The lead singer of Pretty Krista was actually voiced by Michaela Krantz in English, who we had the honor of hanging out with outside of a convention. It's the only voice actor I've ever given a ride back to the hotel.
I remember you telling that story.
And it was funny because at the time, we had a car that was named after her character, Elena Arshevina from World End. Or World Break, I'm sorry. And it was just funny because walking back to the car, I looked at Leanne, I looked at my wife, I was like, should we tell her the name of the car? And she's like, oh my God, I totally forgot. So Michaela was a little bit shocked when we were like, yeah, we named the car after your character. Yep, the Russian girl, Elena Arshevina.
Yep. Mwah.
But on that note, we are just about out of time. I want to once again thank Giovannie Cruz for joining us tonight. It was so much fun to chat with her. So wonderful that through her busy schedule of trying to watch 5 movies and everything else she's doing, she took the time to come on and hang out with us for about 40-45 minutes. So we really do appreciate her joining us tonight. Always a pleasure to chat with her. Of course, a big thank you to all of you guys out there, the fans who tune in every week. Without you, we probably wouldn't have the show as good as we have it. And,
agreed.
Now, of course, thank you to Darren and Angela for joining, as they always do, as often as they can, whether it just be to sleep or maybe thank you to Ines, who's up there making his weekly appearance.
Y'all put up with my loud mouth, so there's that.
And remember, Darren sleeps through that, so he's a tired boy.
I'm okay.
So until next week with the guest and subject to be determined, I hope everybody has a wonderful night out there.
And in all seriousness, guys, if there's something specific you all want us to talk about, give us a message, interact with us on Facebook. One of the 3 of us will answer. No guarantees on who it is, because it all depends on timing. But we all see it.
And if you want us to touch on certain topics or different animes or random stupid questions, like, what animes would you like to see crossed over? Throw them out there. We love the suggestions from you guys. We love the interaction. Like I said, thank you to everybody who tuned in through the live streams throughout the weekend. We had fun at Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. Again, big thank you to Jeff Fulb and his team for the work they did. Thank you to the Champlain Valley Exposition Center for hosting the convention and putting up with all of us crazy vendors and fans and attendees. Until next week, when we have more zany craziness and randomness, This has been Anime-Zing Radio right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Have a good night, all.